Okay, good afternoon. Grace Kouadjo, Director of Administrative Computing here at Bethune-Cookman University, PR for the ForCORE project. Project overview. The ForCORE project aimed to upgrade Bethune-Cookman University cyber infrastructure and enhance its cybersecurity with the deployment of AI-driven firewall to support research, education, and collaboration in a secure, resilient, high-speed environment. Benefit to scientific cyber infrastructure. This project will benefit, we believe that the project will benefit the national research community by first serving as a model for cyber resilient infrastructure in under-resourced institutions, especially ABCUs, enabling access to high-performance computing and data analytics, strengthening data security, supporting real-time multi-institutional collaboration, expanding participation in STEM initiatives. Risk versus potential for advances. The risks include, for instance, temporary network disruption, legacy system integration challenges that we may have, but we believe that those could be mitigated through proactive security measure adoption and awareness. Opportunity include scalable infrastructure for diverse research and competitiveness, disaster recovery capability. Why funding is warranted? Advances. We are getting a secure, scalable cyber infrastructure to support research in public health, climate change, behavior psychology, etc. What the impact? Improve institutional competitiveness, attracting top-tier faculty staff and global research partner, and student preparedness for technology-driven career. Resilience, getting disaster recovery solution, allowing business operation to continue during disaster, especially here in Florida during hurricane, minimizing then a downtime. Cybersecurity innovation, what we are trying to achieve. First, deploy AI-driven firewall and adaptive security framework. Implement real-time monitoring based on user behavior, and secure data sharing and research tool. How is done today here at Bethune-Cookman University? Currently, we rely on role-based access and MFA, even though those methods are secure, but they limit usability. So what is new? AI integrated firewall and NAC on academic network using our newly upgraded infrastructure backbone as a live test bed for evaluating adaptive cybersecurity methods, and also hand-on training for our students, so building today and tomorrow workforce. Why do we think that it would work? We believe that this approach provides strong security measure while minimizing workflow disruption. Its applicability with rapid refinement of the threat model in a live operational data setting. Evaluating and demonstrating transition with what are those metrics. We measure reduce mean time to threat detection, mean time to respond, tracking the number of successful attack prevented by the AI-driven firewall in the NAC system, measurable improvement in network performance, user confidence in our network reliability and data security, and also growth in internal and external research collaboration. How this data would be accessed? We believe that through NSF-approved database hosts like the one we saw last week, and today we are hearing that again. Also, the data will be available through multiple HBC workshops that we'll be participating in, and more. programmatic details. This is a 3-year project starting next year, January 2026, and is led solely by Bethune-Cookman University. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Grace. So there is a little bit of strategery here in the way we kind of set these things up. I think that this has a nice overlap with everything we've just seen.
Correct.
In my view, right? I mean, there's some interesting things on AI-driven firewalls here, right? And boy, our first 2 projects might have some interesting influence on how that works. There can be some great collaborations on that, right? Mention a little bit about making sure it's leveraging RANs like Internet 2 and other things like that, the research education networks. So some overlap with root beer, IPv6. I'm not sure how much IPv6 is it'd be interesting to have more to understand the IPv6 story. And so I think what we have here is a really fascinating project in itself, but also potentially an interesting collaborator for all of the previous for it. I'm not sure there's a whole lot of data directly coming out of this one to be stored. I think this is more about implementation on the campus and expansion to other HBCUs or other let's say non-R1 colleges, right? But I think to the extent that there is data, this would be we'd want to put it into OSDF. But I think potentially really interesting partner for any of the existing projects. And I don't know, Grace and company, is there much data that you envision coming out of this that would need to be stored at an OSDF or NDP, or is that not really that might not really be the fit here? What do you think?
Yeah, we are going to get some log, and my network manager is here. So we are going to generate 3 sets of log, and also we are going to get some data through survey. So we're going to survey our researcher to see what the reliability of the network, if they feel secure, and also the number of collaborators that now and after. So all those will be generating data. Chris, if you can answer some of the type of data that we are going to generate.
Yeah, we're going to be generating logs for all the various different from the firewall to Windows logs, network device logs. We're going to be analyzing logs from everywhere that we can get them with the new cyber infrastructure that we're putting, sending that to an AI-driven firewall analyzer that's going to be able to parse that data out, help us with more real-time inspection, be able to see what we have done, the changes, making it from our baseline that we're looking at now, and how we approach security, how we approach attacks, how we approach authentication attempts, just how we approach it now versus as we start implementing this. We're going to be producing data from it because we're going to be comparing back and forth on how much better that not only the network security, but the speed, reliability, and the collaboration with other universities is going to come from it. So we will have data, and we would like to share that data so that we can show where we're at now, how a university or an entity could go from where they're at with this baseline to implementing these kind of security devices and getting better and being able to improve times and detections.
So Dan, as part of the PAS ecosystem, the OSDF doesn't have storage except for the staging space in the caches. But we have also access to storage that is contributed by CICI Star project that we call the Open Science Store. That is not for archival, but to support access. So regardless of the volume, this can be considered as a place to stage data for remote access, because remote access may introduce challenges to smaller organizations when requests are coming in and asking for the data and things like that. So they will still need to archive it, but we, with the OS store, can provide staging for remote access. And if that is of interest to the project, then we should definitely talk about it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, very much. And the other key player on this, and unfortunately, I think she's in a location where she is a little bit limited on audio, but Amy Apon from NSF is also a critical player on, well, is the driving player on CC Star and critical player on access as well. So, you know, happy to have some follow-up discussion there. Martin, you're exactly right. This is not, you know, OSDF is not directly, isn't a data storage side as much, but there are other resources that we can also jointly tap into there. So definitely some good.
We can facilitate it, including the movement out of whatever is the archive at the producer into a staging space that can make it available to remote usage without bothering the producer.
Excellent. All right. Well, hey, I've run way over. Oh, shoot. I see still one hand up. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
I have a question for generally for the projects. Sorry, I'm on my mobile at the place. Do you see a need to use interoperable data, or what kind of interoperable opportunities for use of data that exists, and what are the challenges to interoperate between these data sets in general? Are they identified, or do we need to sort of look for what needs are in terms of working across these data sets, even in networking area? But John also mentioned, for instance, cross-discipline use of the data sets. So in some cases, data might not be large, but it still might be useful in context that brings it together with other data sets. So it would benefit from cross-cataloging everything with an NDP. So there is an opportunity there, I think, that I would like to, at least working with the teams, understand more and see if we can work across data sets at some point. Or is there something we can do together to go toward that?
I'll jump in for the unbap sort of. So from an NSF standpoint, that is a really fascinating question, right? And I think that there is, I mean, this is not, all the CC awards are right. This is not a randomly chosen group here, right? I think that there is, some interest to say like, oh, that's interesting, right? ForCORE is talking about some, it has on their slide there, right? Contribute to stuff like Florida Lambda Rail and Internet 2. I'm like, there's it's we didn't really talk about for the Amlight data. Is it V4, V6, a mix of that? Are there outages in there? How is it? So the interaction between the data and the other thing I'll just say from a standpoint of the NSF, which has kind of inspired us to kind of push this direction of getting folks to talk about this, is kind of going back to John's thing, right? We'd love to find. It's not just the networking researchers who should have access to this data, but there's a host of social scientists who might really make use of a lot of this data from all the projects, whether it's, what does a campus network really look like in terms of logs, or, what do we see on that? So, yeah, I think part of the objective here is to see, can we build a larger data story? So, unfortunately, I have blown it in terms of the manager of the time. So I appreciate everybody staying over, but I think this is the intent here was to kind of get some discussion going, encourage everybody to kind of follow up. I should say from the NSF side, right? The quick thing here is for the project, several of the awards do have a requirement to have a data plan in the first 90 days, right? Hopefully this helps you get you get that. But there is no requirement to say, you should work on this, or you should do the broader thing. We hope this kind of spurs some interest. I'll dangle the supplements idea out there for a little bit if you're like, we could do that. But thanks so much for your time. I appreciate this. I hope people continue on the conversations via email. But from the NSF side, that's not required. It's if that benefits you, we'd love to see it. But if not, the required piece is just going to be the data plan, and hopefully this gets you off to a good start. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you,
that's
everybody.
okay.
Thanks, folks.
Bye.